toffee apples, so nostalgic. It reminds me of my childhood going to fetes and fairs. And there's a real science behind making these. It's all about getting the right temperature when you make that sugar syrup, because there's nothing better than biting into the apple and getting that crack of the toffee. So before we get onto the apples, let's talk about the sugar. We want to add our sugar to a pot, and I've got a small pot here because I want it to be quite high so I can dip the whole apple into the toffee. To this, I'm going to add two crucial ingredients, so some glucose syrup, and we'll drizzle that in, along with some acid. I'm using some white vinegar. You could also use some lemon. And this is going to ensure that our sugar doesn't crystallise. So heat goes onto our stovetop, and we want to make sure we don't walk away. We need to focus on this, stay by your stove top and just allow that to melt away. Jiggle the pan, you don't want to mix it too much. If it starts to burn on the side, just have some water on standby and just use that on the sides just to make sure that it doesn't burn, okay? Now, while that's bubbling away, let's talk about our apples. I'm using some Pink Ladies, but you could use some Granny Smith. I also like the really small ones. If you find them at a farmer's market, definitely use them. Now, we want these to be as dry as possible so our toffee sticks to it nicely, and we also want the wax off it. So a lot of these apples have wax on it, and the best way to do this is to have some boiling water on standby. I'll grab a popsicle stick, and we're just going to place it in there. That's going to be the handle. Just got to use a little bit of force here, and into the boiling water. Very quickly, we're just trying to dissolve the wax off that and then take it out of the water, which will really help that toffee stick nicely. So no moisture there too, so dry that. All right, back over here. You can see that it's starting to melt away. We're in the safe zone here where it hasn't completely dissolved, so we just want to wait and be patient. And then I'm going to use a candy thermometer. Now, the optimum temperature for a hard crack is about 145 to 150, even up to 155. Anything over that, it turns into a caramel, so we don't want that. We're going to keep an eye on it and monitor it. All right, we're at about 150, so we can take that out. You can see that we've got a nice deep colour there. We'll add some colouring. Totally optional, but I love that bright red colour in the toffee. So just a few drops of red, and we'll give that a bit of a swirl. Just really incorporate that. Okay, that's been incorporated nicely. And our apples, we've got to dunk them in and completely coat our apple. Oh, look at that colour. While it's still quite sticky, for an extra touch, just dunk that into some almonds and you've got a gorgeous looking toffee apple. So I'm working quite fast with this because that toffee sets quite quickly. So straight into our almonds and then onto our tray. So I'm going to continue making these. You'll see there's less toffee, so you're just going to have to place this on an angle like so. Dip that in, take the excess off, and then straight into these gorgeous almonds. And as that hits the apple, because that toffee is so hot, it almost toasts those almonds. It just smells fantastic. Once you've done this, just let them sit here for a good 5 minutes, just so they cool down and they're ready to enjoy. All right, these have cooled down, and this is what it's all about, right? Crunchy toffee, and those almonds are just so delightful. I'm just going to place them onto a plate, and you put this in front of the kids, they will certainly go wild, even the big kids, because they're so tasty. Lovely crunchy apples, extra crunchy toffee on the outside, and that little hint of almond really takes this to the next level. Toffee apples, love them.